Hi! When you test your programs, it's important to know that you're testing each part of the program. If you have a bug in a paragraph that doesn't get tested, the person who finds the bug may be your customer or your user. In version 2020 R1, we added a code coverage tool. It's activated by adding -coverage to your command line. It'll report which programs and paragraphs and statements are actually executed and which are not. The code coverage tool can be run from the command line or inside the IDE, and it will color code each of your program lines as executed or not executed. When you run it in the IDE, it will also let you drill down to these lines. The report is created in HTML, and it shows the percentage and actual numbers along with a visual representation of how much your code is really getting tested. There are several variables to configure the code coverage tool, including ones to specify which programs you want to measure or which programs you don't want to measure. And there's also a library routine called $coverage. It further controls the code that is tested, and it's used to flush the data to a report at a specific point rather than at the end of the run. So let's see how it works. I have a program called test.io. It calls another program called custfont, and then it does some processing using $IO. So let's compile those two programs. And when I run them, it's going to pick up this isCOBOL.properties. And in it, I'm excluding the custfont because it's a common program and I don't need to test it. I don't need to set the source code and class files location because everything's in the same directory for me. But if yours aren't, then you'll need to set one or both of these. And instead of the default HTML report folder for the report, I want it to go into a folder called CC report. So let's run it. We'll use the -coverage on the command line. And that created a folder called CC report. And in there is an index.html. And I'm going to run that to get my report. So I'll drill down to test.io. And I can see that I'm doing pretty good with my code coverage, although I don't have display done or display error getting executed. So let me see if I can correct those, and I'll rerun the report. Go back to our program. And here's the display done, so I'll uncomment that. And for the display error, after the delete statement, I'm going to try to delete it again. And this will cause it to fail and execute that display error paragraph. We'll save it, recompile, rerun it, and now I have a message. And let's look at our report again. We're getting 96.51% of this program covered, and all of my paragraphs are getting covered. Now I see that something in main and OpenIO is not getting done, for instance. So let's click on the source file. And we have some color coding. And you can see this line in red is not getting covered in our test. But that's okay in this case. Let's take a look at it in the IDE. I have the same two programs, test.io and custfont, and I'll compile them by building the project. And there are my classes. And then to run it, I'm going to right-click on test.io and go to COBOL coverage as, and the COBOL coverage configurations. And I've already set one up for the test.io. This is all pretty normal, but under the coverage tab, I'm excluding the custfont program, and I'm going to click on code coverage. And you'll see here, there's a tab that comes up for coverage, and I'm at 92%. If I look at this, I can see that my display error and display done are not getting executed, just like in the SDK test. If you want to know specifically, if you double click on it, it'll take you right to that place. And again, it's color coded, so everything red was not executed. So let me modify my program to execute those two statements, just as I did last time. There's the display done. And there is the second delete that should fail. And I'll save these and build again. And I've already set it up to run, so I don't have to do it again. I can click here. There's a separate run set of icons for COBOL coverage. And I'll click on my test IIO. And now I'm getting my processing done message. And this was updated. Let's take a look. Now I'm at 96%. And so that's the code coverage in the IDE. There's a quick look at the code completion tool. If you have any questions, you can contact us at support@variant.com. Thank you.